The end of the world is coming, and you had better get ready. Ready for what? For Judgment Day? And by whose standards? God's? Now, why would an all-loving God judge me when he's all-loving? Maybe this judging God isn't really all-loving. But who are we to judge? This is Who Am I?
Who am I?
Who am I?
Who?
Our purpose is to awaken.
Who am I?
To awaken to absolute truth.
Am I?
Who am I? Who?
Our purpose is to awaken to absolute truth.
Absolute.
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 Absolute truth.
Our purpose is to awaken. Are they one and the same? Absolute and truth. That's our purpose.
Who am I?
Judgment Day. Are you ready? It's kind of interesting. When I was running the Peachtree, there was the guy had a sign up that said, "Are you ready for Judgment Day? End times." And just think about how much that runs our lives. Okay, even if you're not religious. I mean, there are several denominations that I think they call it apocalyptic. I think type of. Yeah, say that word, John.
Apocalyptic.
Right. She's a smart one in the family. Anyway, where it's about, this God who's going to judge you. Okay, and he judged Adam, he judged Eve and Satan. Okay, so what would it be like if we didn't judge? What would it be like if we didn't have a God who didn't judge? I mean, can we deal with that? See, we have God as a source. This is what this key word is. What is the source? What is the source of it all? Einstein wanted to know. Stephen Hawking wanted to know. And they were caught in a field called science. They couldn't get outside the box called science. Religion, they get in a box called faith. And they call a source a God or something. So what is this source that we think that says judge? Do I always have to judge? Why do I think that, Beyonce is prettier than Mons Mabley?
I think you're human.
Oh, tell me more about that, Gloria.
Well, it's like that's what we think. Down there, the source of human identity is coming from a lack.
Okay.
Coming from time, space. Coming from thinking. Well, you put that up there. But for God's identity, one is one of the descriptors.
Okay.
All.
Okay.
Infinite intelligence. So if there's one, where would judgment come in if there's only one?
Okay.
There has to be another duality in order to have any kind of judgment.
But, yeah, but it looks like there's a me and a you, or a me and a you, and a me and all of y'all.
That's what it looks like from the human identity.
Oh, okay. But God, has something called he judged Adam and Eve according to Scripture.
That's made up from the human identity again.
How do you know that?
Because you said so.
Okay, give me all your money, all right? Because I said so, all right? Yeah, John.
That sounds like a chicken and the egg argument to me.
What you mean?
Which comes first? In terms of the source.
Okay.
Did God make man or did man make God?
Well, that's
And
it.
particularly in his own image, then there's the reason why you can have this duality with God being an all-loving God and then also being an angry God. Because there are plenty of references and passages in the Bible, and I'm not a biblical scholar at all by far, but there are all kinds of references that where that duality exists,
Yes.
and it is not really adequately explained unless you go back to this chicken and the egg argument.
Yeah, right here.
I think it all comes from thinking. The
Okay.
act of thinking where there is another, because we perceive our thoughts as being our own, and we don't perceive them as coming from external to us. We think that they're located inside of our minds, so everything is external to us because of that. So we create these ideas of God's identity and all that sort of stuff as being other than who we are. And then from that, we're taught various things by society in terms of what is and is not true about God's identity. But thinking is the culprit.
Yeah, I think, therefore I am, said Descartes. Okay? This thought, all right, that says I am. Now, the question is, and as Gloria was pointing out, is there only one that does not think? At least like, Bahia, Allen, or whoever, okay? See, it's interesting. You were talking about scripture, okay? Supposedly in that Garden of Eden, there was this tree. And this tree represents the knowledge you could think about of what was called good and evil. And once Adam and Eve ate of that tree, in other words, once they thought that that tree was correct, they then began to have to leave the garden, or they were thrown out, or whatever. Okay? There was no longer perfection. There was something called a this and a that, duality. Now, once you have good and evil, okay, you're judging, of course. All right? And I'm always judging when I said this, I like this, but I don't like that. I think Beyonce is prettier than Mom's Maybelline or something, okay? Whatever. But, Joan, you were saying what came first, the chicken or the egg. Well, how about this is first? That only truth can be first. That which is the premise that has to be truth. Okay? Now, you have to then, what is truth, right? That's what we're asking. Okay? Yeah, a minute.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm thinking is what the show is about. It's just like asking that question, who am I, what am I, or what is the absolute truth? And since we're coming only from a perspective of thought, because to be human is to think, then we can never really define or comprehend or understand the truth. Because if we're saying that the source and truth are one and absolute, then there can't be any differences.
Right.
And so we only can come from a perspective that that differences exist. And as long as we think that a difference exists, then we'll have to have judgment. And if we're going to have judgment, that means we have to have a belief.
Okay. Yeah, but hey, you look like you want to respond to that.
Yeah, the tricky thing about that is there's a movement, it's called the singularity movement. Mm-hmm. And it deals with this notion of using the cloud via Wi-Fi to kind of synchronize human thinking so that so you start to rule out the differences in the thought systems that are in human beings, and the justification of that is the creation of robots and machines that human beings are afraid of becoming more intelligent than a human being. So we need to be plugged into the cloud so that we're not left behind. It's a whole nother thing that's happening right now on this planet. I think what Dr. Carter just said becomes really important is, suppose they do create artificial intelligence, is it going to be based in truth?
No.
Can't be.
Right, it probably won't be based in truth. So you'll have thinking still that is unified and squeezing out this notion of there being another, but it won't be based in truth.
Right. See, anything that you think has to be, as Gloria said, based on time and space. Okay? I have to have a location. All right? And there has to be distance, because there is something called here and a there. Okay? So what happens if you have in time and space? What happens to that? To now. Okay? This is truth, John. Now is. Where is it not now? When is it not now? Can there be any place or any time, so to speak, I use that word time loosely, where now isn't? Now is infinitely present. Where on Mars, on Andromeda, or whatever, it's now. This is God. But Alan thinks, and Alan thinks in time and space, or artificial intelligence. All right? When you get into, the Matrix and all of that, or Westworld, or whatever, some of these sci-fi type movies are, they're trying to expand your mind to essentially, go beyond certain what we assume to be realities, okay? But it still is. See, once I think, I would think that I'm a body. Okay, a body, this body that came out of Ruth Carter. Everybody thinks, and they think that they're a body. And once I think I'm a body, I have something called, I'm not there. There's another body. Okay, so now I have two bodies, me and Carol. Okay, now I have senses. I have to rely upon my senses to tell me that Carol is over there and I'm over here. Okay, and then Gloria.
So then what I hear you saying is that if there is a thought or anything that's different from something else, which would have to be observed by a thinker, then that has to believe that it's outside of the all.
Yes.
Okay, and that is impossible.
Right.
So that means that when you just said something about now, that means there can never be more than just one now.
Right.
There can never be two nows.
Exactly.
Even what I ate for breakfast this morning, when I was there, I thought it was now. And now I'm over here.
Right.
But that now never changed.
Right.
Is that what you're saying? Because
now
you
can't
can't be
change.
outside of the now.
Right. Because it's the only presence.
Yeah.
It's called omnipresent. Gloria, you were next.
Well, I was going to say something, and I think it's kind of in line with what Leonard was saying, and use the word separation. It's like that line that we, as human, coming from lack, I think I'm separate from all, from one. This Gloria I thinks that I'm separate. So I've got to create a God to try to be something. It's like that false identity that I think I am. And as long as I'm thinking, I can't be in the now. As long as I'm coming from that human identity, you can't be in the now, because there is that line of separation coming from the human identity. But when you come from God's identity, there is no such thing as separation. All there is now. All there is.
Yeah. See, once I have this, okay, I'm now saying that there's something called I ain't got. There's something called missing. Okay? So now I have to have something called a desire. Got to go get a motive. I got to go get, I want this. I want what? Money. All right? I want whatever. Fill in the blank. All right? Now, once I have this desire, I have something called, that is valuable. I now value this. Okay? I now value something called money. All right? And I don't have it. And so I said, oh, money is what? Good. To have money is good. And what? To not have money is bad. I got a judgment. Okay? Because I have now said my desire automatically assumes that I have judged something as valuable or important. Money or fill in the blank. All right? So now I'm caught up in judgment. And the thought called, I don't have, I got to get something that's important. Okay? By here, Joan, you said you haven't been by here.
Well, that keeps you stuck. You can. That sort of is acquiescing, and in many ways, just you're human, and you're going to be stuck there. So, as Tina Turner said, what's love got to do with it? The question would be, what's God got to do with that?
Nothing with a human.
Yeah.
God don't know nothing about John.
Right.
Or Alan.
Right.
Or Jesus.
Right.
Okay? Yeah, I know that's kind of hard.
Except for he was his son, his father.
No, see now, now again, that's human thinking, which
Well,
is.
I mean, you can't get out of that.
That's a belief.
Well, yeah, but you got to realize it's all lies. Anything Joan thinks or Alan thinks is a lie. I don't care if it's so sacred and so virtuous. You know, look, God gave his only beloved son. This God, if he gave his son, he was limited. Because there was a God who was limited, who had what? A son who was limited. Okay? So he wasn't now or all or the only one.
Well, and he was a judger too. Why
And
would he give
yeah,
his son?
well, why would he, say Satan was evil? How did he know about evil when he's supposed to be all good? Now I know this sounds blasphemous to people, okay? But we are here to question. I'm not here to, insult you, your religion, or anything. But if truth is the source, you will want to question, because otherwise you think your thoughts are true. Right here.
I was just thinking, if you drew a diagram of space-time, it would be horizontal,
Okay.
right?
All right.
And it would incorporate the notion of lack in it.
Okay.
Okay, so we learned real early to believe in space-time through our number system. If you drew a diagram of now, it would be vertical,
Okay.
constantly happening in the moment.
Okay.
So we get set up real early to accept all these other beliefs that are taught us, but there's one belief that I just can't let go of this. And that is the notion that God doesn't know that we're here going through this. I really believe that God does.
I know, because you won't believe in a personal God, because you think you're a person. Okay? Yeah, Brian.
Yep, and Bahia, to speak to your point, I think if we did a diagram, I think it would be a circle. But we're individuals, so I might be judging it differently than you are from my point of view. But I'm thinking from this discussion, we're making the assumption that man created religion.
Mm-hmm.
So built into this, we have the judgment. It's engineered into religion.
Yes.
Is there any way to separate the two?
Separate what? Religion from
Judgment.
no. No.
Do we want to separate the two?
Because it's all, as you say, it's all man-made. It comes out of the human thought. All religions are faith systems, beliefs. That's psychology, okay? And it comes out of the human mind. I believe in the Lord Jesus Christ. All right, well, that's just a belief. You can do that. Like, I can believe that Freud was a good psychologist. That ain't true, but I can believe that, all right? Or I can believe that the Falcons can beat the Patriots. Oh, boy. But anyway, the point, though, I can believe that Donald Trump never lies. Oh, boy. Okay, but whatever, all right? But the point is, it's a thought. And you can question any thought to see if it's true, okay? And that's all we're doing on this program, all right? And if you are wise, you will be committed to truth. If you're wise, and how would you be committed to truth? To question everything, okay, that you think, or as Bahia just said, that you've been taught, okay? Glory.
But even if it's like my question that keeps coming up is, how do I can reference oneness, truth, absolute truth. I can't really wrap my brain around it because it's intangible. It's invisible. So what would my life look like if I always came from that identity of I am that I am, meaning I am one, I am truth. If I start there and I keep reminding myself of that, does that then become a belief that I live from? And isn't that the same as a human identity?
It'll be kind of like you heard people having lucid dreams, okay? In the sense that you would know if in a lucid dream, you know that it's a dream. Most of us, when we dream, it's real for us. The monster is attacking you and your heart is beating real fast or whatever, okay? But if you are, let's say, a guru, an enlightened being, a realized person, all right, and you still are operating in a body, let's say a Jesus who, let's assume Jesus was a master, was a self-realized person, all right? I don't want to get into an argument about it, but that's just let's accept that as sort of just for discussion right now, okay? So if he was walking around, Palestine and so forth, and he was realizing something, he would go, well, okay, he would say to Pontius Pilate, you have no power over me. Well, why? Because he realized he wasn't a body. Okay, see, Alan Carter is so identified with this body, all right? But I will see other bodies, but I will see you without judging you. I will know that you are just a dream figure, like in a lucid dream.
So, coming from truth, if I, as much as this brain can handle, if I keep referencing truth, that's my identity, that who I am is love, who I am is God, that represents those words up there. Then it's like stuff that comes to me in this seeming world, it's like I notice it, but I'm not attached to it.
Right. There's nothing.
So it gives me like maybe a sense beyond our five senses.
Yes.
Like a knowing that is indescribable.
Yes.
That isn't who I am. That has nothing to do with who I am.
Right.
And you just notice that that's what's happening. You notice a Trump is doing a Trump, but you're not attached to what Trump is doing.
Yeah.
It's like, but how do you it's like, wow, to be able to live that way, it's like there would be no limits.
Right.
And that would be an indescribable life.
Yeah, how can you describe that which has no limits?
Right.
Okay, Leonard.
Okay. While Gloria was talking, I just like the way she thinks and the way she tries to conceptualize the absolute and truth, and then when she says the word, but how would it be for me, then that's the conundrum I think Dr. Carter always
That
talks.
word I can't understand.
Yeah, that word, man, so. Yeah, because we're trying to think about something that's unthinkable,
Right.
that creates the duality, because thought is all about the duality. So it's, try to, like we say, try to understand the infinite with the finite. It's impossible. But I like the discussion, and I think that's what the show is about, is trying to just keep questioning all of it until there is no more question, because then when you can't ask a question, that's almost like accepting that you're not even here. Yeah. Because now there is no me to have to get anything. You are already the all, and that's all.
Yeah, I hear.
Your book, I think it's called Who Am I?
No, what is this thing called I? But
what is this thing called I?
Yeah.
One of the people who wrote on your jacket cover was Gary Renard.
Yeah.
Would not the universe just disappear?
No. See, everything is within God. Okay? Everything. But not like you see a thing. Okay? You see something separate from you. You see this piece of chalk is separate from you. And your five senses will tell you. Look, my kingdom, okay, is not like what you think it is. Because it's invisible. It's formless form. Now that sounds contradictory. Okay? It's a formless form. It's kind of like when you draw on water. I draw what I'm doing right now. It's a formless form.
Okay, well, I just got really, really confused.
Yeah, most people would.
Okay, no, there's a reason why I got confused. Is because what I just heard described was a duality. This consciousness that's observing something else that's taken place. And when you're in oneness, you're within it.
Yeah, see, now...
There is no duality.
Right. See, this is like Linda was saying, you can't think of this.
You can't.
Okay? There's no way in the world that I don't care if your IQ is 40 bazillion kazillion. Okay? You can't think about now. All right? So the point is, yes, there is something called, when Jesus said, you're talking about God, my thoughts are not your thoughts. Okay? See, Bahil's thoughts are basically dualistic. Okay? There's a subject and an object, comparison, contrast. But this cannot operate by subject-object comparison, contrast. It can only know itself, and it has the ability to infinitely conceive and perceive, but it's not time-based. Okay? It is beyond time. It has nothing to do with time. All right? Okay?
No, it's still not okay.
Yeah,
but,
no, it takes, because this destroys your way, any human's way of thinking. Go ahead.
But it's like, and I think of Sharon when I say this, Reverend Sharon, it's, you can only be now. And that, I can't describe it. The minute I try to
Yeah, that's it.
describe now, being now, it isn't.
Right. Yeah, the moment you open your mouth, you lie.
That's right.
I don't care if you're Jesus.
So I think, and you've said this many times, that it's like there are some accesses we can use to kind of quiet this mind. And one is asking the question, who is asking the question?
Yes.
Who is thinking these thoughts?
Yeah.
And it's like, as long as, and Leonard said something about it that I triggered me, it's like, as long as I'm asking that question, it's like the only answer is I am.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I used to label that I am as Gloria's answering asking the question, and it's like, no, there is no Gloria. So who's asking the question is I am.
Yeah,
and you keep doing that, and it's like, kind of maybe that I am starts creeping in.
Yeah. I have to cut you off, okay? This I that's called Alan, because I just got a signal that, they have judged me as going too long, okay? Take a look around. There's war, natural disasters, famine, and disease. Is this what God intended? The temptation said, this earth is just a ball of confusion. And that's why I'm asking, is the world crazy? Or is it just me?
Join Dr. Alan Carter for a special live workshop entitled, Is the World Crazy or Is It Just Me? Saturday, July 24th. Visit drallencarter.com for details.